Hello, everyone. My name is Rimsha Farhan. I'm the host and founder of our little bubble. From wherever you are watching us, I hope and I expect that you would be happy, healthy, safe, and peaceful. As you all know, that this session today we are going to conduct is all about immigration. So let me just start this session by adding a quote here, and that is, "We, the people of this continent, are not much afraid of the foreigners because many of us were once foreigners." And that's very good because there is nothing bad in trying to get another living space for us and for our future, for our family, to some other part of the world. Okay, so my is it okay right now? So back then we don't have any much, support. We didn't have any much people who were helping us. But now there are so many people who are there to provide and their services. As in, there are immigration consultants are there. This session, I hope that this session will enlighten and will be opening many windows for the people of Pakistan who are willing to go to abroad and they're looking for any opportunities with an optimistic approach and fair legal consultancy. And for this thing, we have got access to talk to some person. Without wasting a single minute, I would like you to meet the face behind AIS Immigration Consultancy. And there's a girl who is basically known to be Pakistan's first female immigration consultant, also a educational mentor and a youth career expert. So let's welcome Aleena Azam in our show. Hello, Aleena. How are you?
Hi, Rimsha. I'm good. Thank you for the kind introduction. How are you doing?
Welcome to Dubai. And let me just ask you that what, how is your trip is going?
My trip is going good so far. I just got here 2 days ago, and Dubai has been home for me. So it's always good to be back. I have lots of memories here. So
Yeah,
I just look
so that
forward to
you
coming back
actually
every
it's
time.
been 10 years,
Yeah.
mashallah. So, Alina, I would like to ask you that you have achieved so much, and I must tell you that you look really young and beautiful. So, you
Thank
have
you so
achieved so
much.
much in this young age. So, you would like to tell us that from where you have started.
Yeah, so I'm not as young as you think I am. So I go a long way back. I graduated back in 2006. I originally am from Lahore, from Pakistan. I did my graduation from LUMS, which is the Lahore University of Management Sciences, back in 2006. And I started my career with working on the account of Coca-Cola as a media planner. That was my first job. Was very exciting. Worked on, that was the time Coke Studio was being launched. So we got a
Oh,
chance
great.
to work with people like Rohel Hayat, and so it was very fascinating. I jumped into that right after graduation. So
Yeah, because
it,
that was a very biggest thing, that a girl
yeah,
is studying and then suddenly she just introducing to the world of media and the people who are there.
yes. So it was quite overwhelming and exciting for me. And but I think I worked there for so Coca-Cola was a very good opportunity for me. I learned a lot. Got to work with very good people. So my learning curve from the beginning, luckily, was quite fast, and I picked on a lot of things. And then I got the opportunity to come to Dubai. A very close friend of mine, she was working here. I came here on a vacation. This was back in 2007 when. I mean, people always knew of Dubai, but there were not a lot of people who had actually, from our batch or from our social circle, there were not a lot of people in Dubai at that time. I came down here, and that was the time when everything was on a boom, and real estate was booming, and
Hmm.
they had started new projects at that time. So I luckily got into this Dubai Parks and Resorts. So I was in their strategy and planning department. They were planning all these parks and resorts. At that time, there was nothing. There was just a big, huge piece of land at that time, and we were working on the business models and the financial plans of these projects. We had people from all over the world, from Orlando, Disney World, and Disneyland Paris, who were our bosses. So it was an exhilarating experience. It was really nice. And then my journey began in Dubai. I was not married at that time. I went back, got married, came back here, and we just never left Dubai till we immigrated to Canada, which was later on.
Mhm. And
So
you have lived here like 10 years, and you were also mentioned that you were not married that time. So will you like to tell us that there would be kind of any difficulties you face, because that was a very huge difference. You were suddenly migrated to here. I know that Dubai is not very much, it has a mixed culture. It has a lot of kind of different kind of people. You will be going to meet different kind of business consultants and all that. So how did you manage, and did you get any difficulty living here?
okay, so it was, Dubai was it was such a shocker for me when I moved abroad, because I belong to a very protective family. So my father
Hmm.
has been very overprotective, like most of our fathers are, back in Pakistan.
Yeah, of
And
course.
he would just not let me go anywhere. And then suddenly this big opportunity came up, and
Hmm.
I was adamant on going, and he let me go. So that was a big deal for me. And when I came
Hmm.
down here, I realized that it was a world of opportunities, and it was oddly
Hmm.
safe coming from a country like Pakistan, where women are told not to step out of the house alone, not to go to the market alone, not to drive,
Hmm.
things like that. And then I was thrown into a world where everything was open, and the kind of empowerment I felt at that age, I was just 21. It was exhilarating. I think that
Hmm.
taught me a lot, and it was a big booster to my confidence.
Hmm.
And then, it was I was 21, and I rented an apartment. I had to pay the bills. I got a car. I got the driving license, which is a degree in itself. It's quite tough. um,
Exactly.
so all of that, so it was quite there were challenges in the sense that obviously I was used to being around family, and my parents did everything for me before, but I felt oddly empowered, and it was a very liberating experience for me to do everything on my own and then pay everything from my own income. So I did not focus too much on the challenges. I was just so motivated that it never hit me. There were times like we had to, we had to plan our bills. We had to plan our, there were some loans and payments which had to go
Hmm.
out, which had to be done on a timely basis. And I used to forget to pay the bills on time. You know how everyone is in the
I can get
beginning.
it. Means Dubai
Yeah.
has opened. Was supposed to be a gateway to your another world. And then,
Yeah.
would you like to tell us that what was the way back then when you were migrated to Canada? Because the next step in your journey was the migration towards Canada. Where did you
Yeah.
complete your study?
Right. So basically, what happened, Rimsha, was that as a family, we were very settled in Dubai. I had a business. This was after 10 years of being in Dubai. I climbed up the corporate ladder. I got the opportunity to work with big multinationals in good positions. And I had my first child, and I realized how tough it was to be a working mother. And
Hmm.
I was working like 10 hours a day, and I had a newborn at home. The mat leave benefit here is just 45 days. I was just it was a lot of stress for me to handle. I did not want to leave my career, but I wanted to be fair to the child I'd born. So it was a very tough kind of a spot.
Yeah,
So I started thinking, that I need to do something where I can have my kids with me, and that's how I stepped into this business of
immigration process.
opening. No, so this was before that. I'll come to I'll come to how that happened. So I opened the nursery here in Dubai.
Oh,
The British school which I opened in Dubai. So that was my main motivation was to work somewhere where I could have my baby with me.
exactly.
Uh, so it was, I think, 6 to 7 years into the school business, and it was, I was quite occupied with that. And then this thing hit me because Dubai was very volatile economically. So there were times it was going up and down. We were fully invested into the life here. We had a mortgage, we had financed cars, things like that. And it just suddenly hit me that, keeping the job insecurity in mind, what are the chances that we will stay here forever?
Hmm.
Keeping in mind how things are, at the end of the day. And then we started hearing stories of people packing up and leaving, and these were people who had worked
Hmm.
in really big positions. So that was the time I started looking at options, and Canada came into my mind only because my brother was living in Canada. He had studied from there and he was settled there. So whenever he used to come visit me, he would just, put this in my ear that, you need to have a plan B. Because if this dream world which you guys are living in ends.
Actually had planted a very great idea in your mind back then, because
Yeah.
the insecurities which you had in your mind are the same insecurities which all expat who are
True.
living in the UAE currently, including me, we all are concerned about our future, that this is the place which we considered safe, which we considered very fruitfuling, that we are getting new things here, we are safe, we are productive, the kids are settled, and we are getting good education. So there must be something which we got permanently. So
Yeah.
you have applied to the visa process, and then you have shifted to Canada.
Yeah, so I actually went on a visit first. I wanted to get the feel of the country first because I was very happy in Dubai, to be honest. I just loved life here. My kids were settled. We were having a good, comfortable kind of a lifestyle
And
here.
the
So
weather was very perfect.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I had heard from my brother how cold Canada is and all of that. So
Exactly.
I went on a trip. I went on a visit first back in 2014, and I had an absolutely amazing time. I mean, it was really nice. I loved. I went to the U.S. I went to Canada, and I realized that. Life was it was much simpler there as compared to Dubai has a very high-end feel to it. It's very fancy and it's very luxurious.
Hmm.
But Canada has a mix of everything, right? You get that as well as real values. I felt it was a real country. It was green. There was, it's beautiful. The
Hmm.
weather in summer is absolutely stunning. It's amazing. And then winter was also very exciting for me because coming from Pakistan and then living in the UAE, I was sick of the hot weather here. Every summer we used to
Exactly.
go on vacation, and I
Half
just
of
couldn't
the year
stand the
we have
summer.
to just
Yeah.
stuck in our homes and just wait that for that perfect kind of weather,
Yeah.
which we can experience only for few months.
True, true. So Canada has all four seasons. I experienced spring, summer, fall is beautiful, and then winter is slightly long and extreme, but you get used to it, and it's actually quite exciting because there's a lot of activities you can do in snow. So
Mhm.
it was, I then decided that maybe this is it. We need to go ahead and submit the application, and we did, and then once I submitted the application, I completely forgot about it because at that time it was taking longer. It was taking like 3 4 years
Mhm.
to get the process done, and then and then it just came, and we when it came, it was a very exciting kind of a feeling because coincidentally around the same time Dubai dipped again and people were getting laid off and it was quite depressing. I had so many friends who had come with me to Dubai when I did in back in 2007. By the end of 2016, 2015, most of the people had left. They had
Gone,
gone
yeah.
back to their home countries. Some had just um
Yeah.
sorry, can
I just want to ask a very professional kind of question. Suddenly, this thought came into my mind that this would be very beneficial for the people who are listening right now. If anyone who doesn't have any relationship, who doesn't have any blood related relation out there in Canada, how much chance they have to get immigration? Is there any chance for them also?
Yeah, so interestingly, Ramsha, my immigration was not linked to my brother at all. It was a skilled immigration. It has nothing to do with family members. Yes, you do get like 15 points, but it's not nothing significant, right? So even if you, I mean, we have successfully migrated so many people there who had absolutely no one in Canada. And the good thing about Canada is that it's not, I'll tell you the cultural difference between Dubai and Canada. Dubai is very, very hostile in terms of people knowing each other. People are too much involved in their lives here. I felt
Mm-hmm.
very, I mean, Dubai was lovely because I had friends from back home, but I was not able to connect with a lot of people outside because everybody was just in the rut. They were running, and people are so
Mm,
busy here. Nobody has time to meet
exactly.
anyone.
Mm,
Whereas Canadian lifestyle is very, very slow. It's very, very calm, and people meet each other. So what I'm trying to tell you is that even if you don't have family, it doesn't matter. You make friends. You if you know anyone, for that instance, like in our case, in my case, a lot of my clients have now become my good friends, and
mm,
because I had been through the system, through the process myself, and I knew what how stressful it can become to change countries and move to a new part of the world. So
mm,
I would, we had a team there who just guides the clients on every little thing. So from airport pickup to literally buying your SIM, opening a bank account, finding
wow.
you a house, arranging your mortgage. So we do everything. We give
Mm,
guidance and consultancy on every little thing which a new immigrant can potentially face a challenge on.
mm,
So it doesn't matter if you don't have family. That does not change anything. You'll make
mm,
friends. There's lots of people from the
mm,
subcontinent in Canada. It's
mm,
it's very nice and happening, similar to Dubai, I would say, especially the Toronto side,
mm,
which is where I live. It's very nice. You get
mm,
all food options. Desi food is
mm.
there, and it's quite nice.
Yeah, you are right in some way, because Dubai has provided a lot of entertainment unconsciously, that we people that we, if, for example, let's take example of me. I don't have much friends. I don't have a long list of relations and relatives here. But even then, I can enjoy myself because they have provided such kind of activities here. But
Yeah.
after after all that fancy life, you need to get to connected to many people who actually wants to talk to you, because you need people to talk, and you need someone to just shall we have a question, because there is a person,
Sure.
Arwa Ibrahim, who want to ask that, do you deal with USA immigration also?
No, so I specialize. I'm licensed in Canadian immigration. I'm licensed by the Immigration Department of Canada. So that is what I specialize in. However, I can give you advice if you want US, immigration advice. I can give you that because I have knowledge of how different countries' immigration processes work, as that's our field. But I specialize in Canadian immigration, and I can give you solid advice on what kind of options are there. Because there's different kind of people. There's people in the 20s, and in the early 30s, and then we have a more mature client base, which is people who have had over 10 years of work experience and they want to move as families. And then we have the business category where investors come in. So there's different ways of getting to Canada, and we can facilitate that for you, but specifically for
Hmm.
Canada.
Okay, so there is another question. Let me just take it, and then we just
Sure.
move ahead with your journey.
Yeah.
So, Arba has another question, that is, do one needs to be financially strong for immigrating to Canada? I think that's necessary.
Yes. So you have to show proof of funds. You have to, if you're immigrating with your family, there is a minimum income level which you have to show to be eligible for it. So if you ask me, because there are different programs and all have different kind of requirements, but if you talk about skilled immigration, then you have to have, let's say, if you're immigrating alone, it's $12,000 Canadian dollars, which you have to have in your account. If you're going with the family, then it increases. It goes up to, let's say, a family of four, you have to have around 25 to 30,000 Canadian dollars as savings. And these savings can be in your account, in your spouse's account, or it could be in your account back home. It doesn't have to be necessarily in Dubai or in the UAE if you're based here. So it could be your world income. Yeah.
Alina, when you immigrated to Canada, I think in that time there was no any concept of that comprehensive ranking system, or
Yeah,
there
so
was.
I moved there before this the express entry system came into place, which was in 2015, right? So
Hmm.
the CRS score, or the comprehensive ranking score, is now determines whether you are eligible for
Hmm.
immigration or not, and it's based on different criteria like your age, your education, work experience, your English proficiency matters a lot. A lot of
Hmm.
our clients struggle with IELTS because the score requirement is quite high, so we do give guidance on that as well as to how you can take your score up. We could
Hmm.
arrange a job offer for you, but that's our last resort because that is a difficult option to achieve being outside Canada. But we do guide certain people who have that kind of skill set. We recruit, we help them get recruited in Canada as well. So all these options,
Okay, so
there's different options.
that can possible that you can provide, or you can provide ways to get a job, even the person if they didn't migrate
Yeah,
before
for
that.
sure, for sure. We do work permits. So based on, for example, I'll tell you, like we have a lot of teachers who come to us because we have there's a program called the Home Child Care Provider Program. That's for people who have early child care experience. So a lot of people qualify through that. We have families from the UAE, from Sri Lanka, from Pakistan who've immigrated on that basis to Canada. We get them work permits, and then eventually they get PR after 2 years. And not just the candidate themselves; it's the entire family's immigration. So there's lots of options. We
Mhm.
basically I assess people on an individual case-to-case basis, and on that grounds I can advise on what options are there. Usually there are multiple options. For example, if you come to me and you say you want to immigrate, I can give you two or three options, right? So there would be one based on yourself, one would be based on your spouse, but at the end of the day, the end goal is to get you immigration. So
How
um,
many kind of immigrations are there? Like few minutes before, you will talk about skilled immigration. So, is there any other kind of immigration process?
Yeah, so there are different kinds of immigrations. There is one is called the family immigration, and the other is economic immigration. Family immigration is as simple as it is, like if you get married to a Canadian citizen, or if you give birth to a child in Canada, you can sponsor your family members. So a lot of my clients have are people who are marrying into people who are living in Canada. So we facilitate their spousal visas and PR, and then citizenship later on. And so that's one kind. Then we have the economic immigration, which is more popular for our clients overseas who are outside Canada. So like markets like Dubai, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. We basically focus on economic immigration because these are all people who have the right kind of skill set, and they are going for skilled immigration. There is
Hmm.
express entry, which everybody has heard of, and then
Hmm.
there is provincial nomination. So a lot of times, if your score is not good enough, we can get you a provincial nomination, which gets you a boost of 600 points. So let's say if you're at 350 on your CRS, and the cutoff has been like 470, 500, 500-ish, then if you get a provincial nomination, you get 600, you shoot up to 1,000 points, and you get an invitation right away. So there
Oh.
are different ways of doing that. Plus, a very good route, which a lot of people don't know of or probably don't consider as families, is the study route. So let's say you come to me and I calculate your score, and your score is below the cutoff level. Considering your age, you're very young right now. What I would probably advise you is that you can go for a 2 semester course, something interesting, something which will add a lot of value to your career as well. Because when you're in Canada, education plays a big role. If you have a
Hmm.
Canadian diploma, degree, certification, that will take you a long way. The kind of salaries and the job prospects you'll have after doing even a short course in Canada would
Hmm.
completely change your career path. So
And I think CRS points will also get shoot up if we apply to any university, if we apply to any course.
yes. Not just that, Rimsha, it also it it gets you to Canada. So it's like your first it's like a foot in the door. You get a study permit, your husband can get an open work permit, so he can work anywhere in Canada. That gives him an open work permit. And while you're studying, and while you're studying, you can also work up to 20 hours a week. So, and your kids can go with you, and they get free schooling. You all get free healthcare. So it's actually an immediate kind of a solution to people who are stuck here and
Hmm.
they want to leave right away. Because if you go for PR, that's going to take at least a year and a half, 2 years.
And there are two different kind of things, means provincial kind of, are you listening me? I think Aleena's video has stopped. But I think that the person who is itself, I mean, she is herself as a founder of a legal consultancy in Canada. uh, okay.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected, so I had to
Okay,
rejoin.
no problem, no problem. You were really informative, and we were just involved in the procedure and all that. So I just started from something else. So I just want to ask you that you have told two the kind of ways, like one is express entry and one is provincial something.
Yeah, so it's called the provincial nomination, and that
Nomination.
is to
So
boost up your
if
points.
these two things are different, entirely different, or they have.
Well, there. So basically, the express entry is the base level skilled immigration, which, by the way, now is closed after COVID. They've closed it down because they're trying to discourage people from coming from overseas. But which is why right now provincial nomination is the only way of immigrating to Canada. It's either that or we get you a work permit or we get you a study permit, and then later on it turns into a into permanent residency.
And what I perceive up till now, that a person can do express entry by himself, like getting information from the internet and the websites, and by testing himself through the CRS. But I think this thing, provincial, I'm forgetting the term,
Nomination, yeah.
nominations na. So this thing, to get through this thing, we have to hire some consultant. Is it true or not? We can
Well,
just do it by.
yeah, so see, express entry is a fairly straightforward process, and a lot of people do it themselves. But usually, the common mistake people do is that because everybody, when you go for immigration, it's a very lengthy process. There's a lot of paperwork involved. A lot of times, my clients come to me, and they're very highly educated people who are very smart, and they can easily do their own application. But due to the lack of time, due to the commitments they have, they mess up their files. They mistakenly submit wrong documents, and we've had really silly mistakes, refuse files. For example, I'll give you an example. A client came to me. He got an invitation to apply the NITA, which is like a pre-approval for PR, and
Mhm.
he did a little mistake. He submitted one certificate in black and white. That was the only mistake he did,
Oh.
and his file got cancelled. It was
Oh.
completely cancelled. So it was quite sad. And then he never got the chance to
Mhm.
go again because when we tried again, the score had already shot up. So a lot of
Okay, so this is also one point, that if you try another time and you just fail one time, that this will count a mistake, or this will count a negative mark in our process.
not necessarily you have the right to reapply. You can reapply, but by that time, because Canadian immigration is in demand right now, the score is
Mhm.
going up. Like when I started the immigration practice, the score was very low. It was at 400 at that time. And the last draw, which happened last year, which was in December 2020, the score was at, I think, it went up to 475, which is very hard to achieve for a lot of people.
Very
I
hard
had
to
people
achieve,
who
yeah.
had PhDs, who had double masters, they had excellent Ielts score, and just because their age was above, certain like age, 32ish, 32. If you're above 32, your scores, drop drastically. So a
Mhm.
lot of these people were, they're just waiting in the pool. and then they
Mm,
get frustrated, and then they want other options, which is why then we give such options to them, uh,
mm.
to facilitate their
And
way.
what was that point that a person who is applying, he should have to provide his documents in, colored printer paper, colored, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
that was like one of the requirements of the express entry. It was actually a police clearance certificate.
okay.
So you're supposed to. This is a tip for people who are applying on their own. That such documents need to be given in clear, colored, scanned copies. If you He just submitted a black and white police clearance, and his file was rejected
Yes.
based on that.
Yeah, but there would be another kind of mistakes. This is just one thing which we got to know. There would be
Exactly.
1,000 kind of things which we are not aware of. So I think this is a very good way to hire someone like you who is expert in his work, so that we will save much of our time and energy, and the frustration will not comes over. One thing I would like to ask you, that there is a age boundary also. So
Yeah.
what age would be very smart to apply?
So, Ramsha, that's the thing, right? Like recently, just 2 weeks ago, we got an announcement from the government that they have completely closed down express entry for the next 6 months.
Yeah, I
For the
also got to
next
know.
Yeah, for the next 6 months, express entry is not happening, unfortunately, at all, which is why I'm not even taking signing up any cases for express entry, because I don't want to give a false hope to people and then just sign
Mhm.
them up and they keep waiting. It's very frustrating for clients to because and I'll tell you one thing here, especially in Dubai and in the subcontinent, there's a lot of consultants who are misguiding people. They take it as a business.
Oh.
They sell them the dream, and then they're not. A lot of my clients who've come up to me, they've already signed up with different immigration firms in the UAE, in Pakistan, in India, in Sri Lanka, and these people have been misguiding them, telling them that you
Mm.
qualify when they actually do not qualify, and they've
Qualified,
paid
yeah.
big amounts of money. I'm talking about, like, here on average, the people charge like 10 to 15,000 dirhams for an express entry application, and then you realize that you're not even eligible for it. So I had to be the bearer of bad news for a lot of people. It was quite
Mhm.
upsetting for them. But then the thing is that I try to get them through different options, whatever other options are
Mhm.
there: work permit or study permit or provincial nomination. And a provincial nomination file is extremely lengthy. It's very complicated. I would not
Mhm.
advise you guys to do it on your own. Always go through a consultant. And I'm not just talking about consultants who are sitting here in Dubai. They're not licensed. Most of them are not licensed. You need to go
Okay.
for Yeah, you need to go for a regulated Canadian immigration consultant.
Is there any way where a normal person who wants to, is there any way that we can check a person that either he is licensed or not?
Yes, so if you go on the government website, I can share the link with you. If you go on there, they have a list of all the members of ICCRC. So they list all the licensed consultants on there. There's around 4,000 in Canada, and you can just put in the name. So, for example, if you go on there and you put in my name, you will see my license number. You will see my office address in Canada.
That's
So
great.
that is, that gives you authentication. And
Yeah.
similarly, it's not just about myself. Other RCICs also are, they give authentic advice. We have a license which we take under oath, and we cannot give misguided information. If we do, our license is subject to suspension.
Depend,
So
yeah.
this is the best advice I can give to everyone, because a consultant sitting here, they're just people who are filling your forms, right? They know as much as you do. They Google it up and they fill your forms. You can do that yourself if you have time. If you
Mm.
want value to be added to your application, go for a regulated consultant who knows. We have
Mm.
studied immigration law. It took us a long time to study all these cases, and
Yeah.
uh, experience and knowledge does matter when you do such files. And it is a big decision. It's an investment you're doing on yourself, because at the end of the day, you're looking forward to a dream. You're looking forward to a new country, which offers you a lot. So it's worth the investment. This is my advice to people. Like, it's
Okay,
better.
so there's there again. I have got a question. Let me just open it to you. Nimra Asif is saying, yes, financial guarantee is very important. My brother is doing PhD from Canada और उसने पहले पैसे show करवाए हैं property पहले शो करवाइए प्रॉपर्टी, ही इज बेसिकली इंजीनियर। और अगर आपने पढ़ने जाना है तो कनाडा में बहुत मुश्किल है, अपने स्टूडेंट्स को प्रेफर करते हैं जॉब के लिए वो, एंड फॉर इमिग्रेशन यू हैव टू इन्वेस्ट ऑलमोस्ट 1 करोड़। आई डोंट, आई वाज जस्ट बिजी इन रीडिंग द होल कमेंट।
अच्छा, सो ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता। अब देखें, मैं आपको बताती हूँ। अगेन, एवरीबडी हैज देयर ओन काइंड ऑफ इंडिविजुअल एक्सपीरियंसेस, राइट? सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, आई आवर फर्म वर्क्स as official partners of over 40 to 45 universities and colleges all across Canada. So we're their official agents. We are in touch with the admission departments of all these colleges and universities. So getting the admission done is our headache. We have a refund policy. In case we're not able to get you into any university or college, we would give you a full refund. So yeah, so we make sure, I make sure when I sign up a client, I make sure that they're eligible for admission. As far as money is concerned, it can be as cheap as 15 to 17,000 Canadian dollars, which comes up to around I think it comes up to around maybe 50 or 60,000 dirhams if you convert it into dirhams. So and
And
if you
in, if we talk about Pakistani rupees, so it would be some lakhs,
So if
not
you
just
convert into it's 20 lakhs, right? So you're
20 lakhs.
yeah. So which is
Hmm.
something which, like, we're based in Pakistan as well. So a lot of my clients come, and people are
Hmm.
willing to invest that kind of money. You go
Hmm.
to these good universities in Pakistan, they cost an arm and a leg now. It's not cheap to study in Pakistan itself. And I see the kind of education which they offer there, and the lack of opportunities which unfortunately Pakistani institutes give to their students. It's just sad, and it makes me sad, because I've studied from Pakistan as well, and I was fortunate enough to go to a good university, but still my mind was completely closed. My mind opened up when I got the opportunity to venture out and experience. And when I studied and worked abroad, the exposure was my real learning experience. That was my real education.
That's good, because I have also heard that you, after migrating to Canada, you have done your study in the same field, that is immigration consultancy, and now you have, mashallah, I think you are a founder of whole legal firm named AIS Immigration Consultancy. Is that true?
Yes, so when I went to Canada, I got myself enrolled in immigration law, and I studied that. It was quite tough in the beginning, in the sense that we had just landed. The day we landed, I that was the first day of my class, and I had to learn
Oh,
another
that's
thing.
great.
It was quite maddening, but I was very determined. I wanted to get done with education as soon as possible, so I could step into the professional world, and I wanted to do immigration. Mainly because the kind of experience I had in getting my immigration done was a nightmare. I went through an immigration consultancy in Dubai, which was one of the top three immigration consultancies, owned by a foreign national big firm, and I paid 15,000 dirhams to them. And during the process, they closed down. And they didn't just close down; they took away all my information. I had no application. The portal went down. Everything shut down suddenly. It was a big scam, actually. It was in the
Oh,
newspapers and all. And I was lost in the middle. Like, I had spent so much time, energy, and money in
energy,
this.
and
And we were actually waiting to go. Like, we were waiting, like, in a year's time we'll hear and we'll go. And then all of a sudden, the case manager on my file called me, and he said, "Do you even know that the company has closed down?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm waiting for you guys to update me on the success of the application." And it was so stressful, I cannot tell you, Rimsha. Like, we had invested all this money, and it's not just about that. We were mentally ready to go. We had so, and then I had to retrieve the information through the case manager. I had to pay him extra. He also took more money from us, and it just became a very, very stressful and a long process. And I was thinking that, then I realized that there's such a gap in this field. And a lot of people, I wanted to help out, because I had a lot of friends who had applied with me, a lot of family members. So I started helping out people just based on my experience. And then once I studied it, and obviously that opened a whole new world of knowledge in terms of how immigration law works. It was quite intense, but I learned so much from it. And the good thing about it was, as soon as I graduated, I landed a very good job in one of the best immigration law firms in Toronto. which otherwise
And
I
that
obviously
was
would have been
and that
impossible.
was, I think, your turnover and your most motivating point, which enforces you to just go towards the this kind of field and thus be yourself an immigration consultant, because you wanted to help others and you don't want others to face this kind of trauma and
Exactly.
this
And when I stepped into this field, Ramsha, most of my clients were my friends. They were my family members because everybody was applying at that time. Even now, when I come to Dubai, it's 10 years of contacts I have here. My ex-colleagues, my friends, my family members, and then it's the same in Pakistan. So people go by referral. They want to go with a consultant who they can trust, and I obviously I feel that being in this field, it's very important to guide people correctly. It's a very expensive process. It takes a toll on you mentally. It takes a toll on
Hmm.
your relationship with your spouse also, because there's so many what ifs, right? What if I lose my job? What if I resign and then I don't find anything there? What will happen to my kids?
Hmm.
These are big
The
questions.
do's and don'ts, the list of do's and don'ts are is very much okay. I just want to ask a thing which we have not discussed yet, and it is, for example, I am an engineer, and I have heard that there is a institution of West, so we have to just attestified our documents from West. So what is that process? Is this the online process, and is it related to our universities where we have studied?
Yes. So basically, what happens is that once you are evaluated for Canadian immigration, they get your degree evaluated. So they take out an equivalency based on the Canadian education system. So I can tell you broadly that if you have a 4 year, 3 to 4 year degree from an HEC recognized university in Pakistan, then most likely you will get a bachelor's equivalency. But you need to keep in mind that for express entry, you need to have a minimum of master's equivalency. So
Mhm.
sometimes we have clients from Pakistan who've done a 2 year bachelor's and then a 2 year master's. They get a bachelor's
Mhm.
equivalency, unfortunately, which makes them ineligible. So at least one of the spouses should have a master's if you're going through skilled immigration. If you go through a provincial nomination, on the other hand, you can
Mhm.
even go through with a 2 year BA and with a bachelor's or BSc honors. That also suffices because you get 600 points.
I
Uh,
must say you that you have been phenomenal. If I would be at your place and if I would be an immigration consultant, I would not leak these kind of valuable information to my audience. And this is a live show, and we have got a very naughty kind of member. So Bushra Saqib Kani is there, and she's saying, "Can we hear some Urdu from Miss Aleena Azam?" So Miss Aleena साहब हम उर्दू में क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं that this profession, Aleena, this is very very competent type of thing. We have a lot of, हमारे पास बहुत सारे ऐसे consultant मौजूद हैं. So do you, आपको pressure feel होता है कि how can I be prominent in this field?
प्रेशर तो फील बहुत होता है बिकॉज आप जब क्लाइंट्स के साथ डील कर रहे होते हैं यू नॉट जस्ट डीलिंग विद द क्लाइंट्स यू डीलिंग विद देयर लाइव्स यू डीलिंग विद फैमिली मेंबर्स आपको
Hmm.
जब जब मैं एक कंसल्टेशन में जाती हूँ तो व्हेन आई सिट विद द क्लाइंट वन ऑन वन आई फील देयर स्ट्रेस मुझे उनकी एंजाइटी और उनका स्ट्रेस फील होता है बिकॉज आई कैन रिलेट टू दैट जर्नी इट्स वेरी वेरी
Hmm.
stressful, it's very personal, it's very family members are involved. A lot of my clients have they have applied for visas, and especially during the COVID period, it was
Hmm.
extremely distressing for a lot of people. I had clients who were in Canada, their family members were in Pakistan, people died, their parents passed away, they were not able to fly back,
Yeah,
and
I know.
visas were stuck. So इस तरह की बहुत situations होती हैं, and it's not just that. The clients also sometimes have unreasonable expectations. They think that once they've signed up, I'm just focused on them, and it's not like I'm not focused on my clients. I try to give all my clients personal attention. We have a huge team where we have case managers who are assigned to each file, and they tend to the client's needs. And कभी कभी तो हमें सिर्फ काउंसलिंग करनी होती है क्लाइंट की क्योंकि क्लाइंट की कोई हमें अपडेट नहीं है बट he's just worried, he or she is worried, they just want somebody to talk to. तो कभी कभी मुझे सिर्फ उनको तसल्ली देनी है. I just need to give
Backup
them
करना होता है. Hmm.
इतनी एश्योरेंस देनी होती है कि आपकी फाइल is there, it will happen, you just need to be patient, and just hearing that puts their mind at ease. But sometimes, as one principal consultant of the firm, it becomes humanly impossible for me to give individual attention to all my clients on a daily basis. I have had clients who said कि जी आपने रोज हमसे बात करनी है जब तक हमारी।
नहीं भाई,
हाँ, तो मैंने कहा कि रोज मैं किस तरह का बात
ये तो
आपसे।
टॉर्चर हो गया है। लेकिन हैट्स ऑफ टू यू दैट इफ यू आर स्टिल डीलिंग विद दैट काइंड ऑफ बिकॉज एंग्शियस बंदा हो जाता है, क्योंकि आपको हर तरफ से जज किया जा रहा होता है, आपकी क्वालिफिकेशन भी जज हो रही होती है। एंड आई थिंक द मोस्ट जो टॉर्चरिंग थिंग है वो आइल्स टेस्ट भी एक बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट चीज है, क्योंकि वो भी आप आई थिंक कंटिन्यूअस बेस पे दे रहे होते हो ना, बिकॉज समटाइम्स यू आर लूजिंग एंड देन यू हैव टू जस्ट रीटेस्ट। सो वो वाली चीज है। तो व्हाट विल यू सजेस्ट दैट इफ अ पर्सन who is not very much good in his language competency, so what advice you can give, because there are many the clients which coming to you, they are families, they are wives, they are mothers who didn't get enough time to just make their self very good in this language thing. So what advice can you just share something?
जी, so first of all, I would just like to say that IELTS is a mandatory requirement for Canada. आप पढ़ाई में जाएं, आप work permit से जाएं, if you go through provincial nomination, express entry, हर चीज़ में IELTS चाहिए आपको. So there is no way of going past it. You have to take IELTS. Now, the good news to this is that it doesn't have to be a 7 and an 8. We can go with the lower scores in different categories, right? So if you go through the childcare provider, the score is 5. The requirement is only 5. Nobody knows this.
Okay. This is
So,
a new thing for me.
yeah, so people who have low scores reach out to me. I'll tell you other solutions where we can still get you in. And the other thing is that for IELTS, I tell all my clients you have to be resilient. जिस तरह आपने मेहनत करके अपने मैट्रिक एफएससी और बैचलर्स के एग्जाम्स दिए हैं, ये आपकी जिंदगी का इम्तिहान है सबसे बड़ा, because this will
Jabardast.
take you to one of the best countries in the world. It will open,
Hmm.
आप अपने लिए नहीं ये कर रहे हैं, आप अपनी जनरेशंस के लिए कर रहे हैं, दिस इज फॉर योर फ्यूचर
Hmm.
जनरेशंस आल्सो, राइट? सो
Hmm.
उसके लिए आप आइल्स, मुझे मेरे पास क्लाइंट्स आके कहते हैं अलीना बस आइल्स हम दोबारा नहीं देते, 3 दफा 4 दफा लोगों ने आइल्स दिया था।
Exactly.
And so I tell them आप you're लगे रहे, आप do it, you can do it. It's just a matter of your determination, based on how determined you are. And then I've seen clients जो 3 3 4 4 दफा देकर आते हैं, उनकी प्रैक्टिस इतनी हो जाती है,
हो
वो
जाती है।
चौथी दफा देते हैं, they meet the requirement. So
Hmm.
but then
So
again,
I
having
think
said that, we still have options. Sorry, Ramsha, we still have options which are open for people who have a lower IELTS score. So वैसी कोई बात नहीं है.
So I think being an immigration consultant, you have two kinds of responsibility. One is to you have to buck up them also, and one is to you have to provide the valuable kind of information and guidance. So
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही है.
this is very comforting, and this is very motivating, because the time is changing. Every day is a different kind of day. In fact, for the people who are resident of UAE as well, we expats also have a kind of constant insecurities that we might lose our job, we might lose the this kind of living here. So this is a high time to get a good consultant, and to just go through this process and get some a very extraordinary living space for our family and for our future. So this session is very powerful, and you have provided extraordinary kind of help. And I'm very much looking forward that many of the people who are watching us, they will surely come to you and they will surely hire you. Maybe I
I
can
would
also come to
love
you.
to be of service, of help to anyone who is seeking immigration advice, any kind of education advice. I'm also an educational consultant, so I can guide you on what kind of fields would be good for you in terms of, when you go to Canada, what job prospects it opens for you. So I can definitely help you guys out. I would love to help you, the people on your forum. Ramsha, you've been very kind. You've taken out time and you put in a lot of effort, I know, to get this done. It was a pleasure talking to you as well, and you're a very sweet and friendly girl, and I'm really glad to have known you, and we'll be in touch. going forward as well.
Sure, I will come to you. And we were planning, actually, we were planning to meet in person, but because of the my schedules were stuck, because of you are very, I can easily feel that you are really busy, and our timings could not match. But
Yeah,
surely we will be in touch, and surely I will come to you, and we will meet somewhere and have a good cup of
sure.
tea as
Yeah,
well. So it
definitely.
was really nice meeting with you, really nice talk to
Likewise.
you, and keep going. You are a true example of successfully done. They are very I didn't get in touch with any female lead who has been entered in this kind of field, and who has been constantly providing information and guidance. So that's
Thank you
very
so much for your
nice to
kind
know.
words. You're very, very kind, and I'm humbled. And I hope and I will really wish that I can help out people, women in our country. I really want to do that. I've come down, I've moved, I've based myself in Pakistan temporarily just to get things rolling here. And a lot of my clientele is, are females. I have a bias maybe, but I want to help out, women, because I see that people are seeking empowerment, women are seeking empowerment. And I know from my personal experience that women are very, very smart, they're very determined, and they're
Exactly.
much more determined than men are. I would say that on a public forum, and I have no
Wow.
problem saying that,
This is
because
something really motivating thing I heard from a woman who is leading right now. So that's really good. That's the session was powerful, and I must say, and we will be looking forward. And I will share your link also, so that if a person who has to get in touch with you, so you will surely get more clients from this forum. So thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Aleena, for sharing lots of information and guidance to this session. So
Thank you.
we will do this thing again, inshallah Taala.
For sure, for sure. You take care and you have a good evening. Take care.
Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.